Sean Spicer has got a new book, Radical Nation, that comes out very, very soon. When's it come out? October?
Tuesday.
This coming Tuesday.
It's available for pre-order now. It'll be available in bookstores Tuesday, but today you can get it.
You can pre-order it. I've got a copy already. So
you do.
Yeah, it's good. But Dad, I just wanted to, I'll pass it over to you.
Now I've got your copy.
Yeah, I know.
I'll tell you what, though,
copy.
I'll write another book just to come back here. This is literally, I know listeners can't see it, but this is probably the coolest place to work that I've ever been at. And I will write another.
They can see the studio because we're on all the social media platforms.
But you guys, it's just such a phenomenal place. And I will write books just to come back to see you guys.
That would be great. All right, so Sean's got a brand new book, as Logan said. It's called Radical Nation, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Dangerous Plan for America. Let's start with, Sean, I think, let's start with the border. I mean,
why not?
Why not? Because it's affecting, as we say in this broadcast all the time, it doesn't just affect people at the border. It affects people everywhere.
Of course it does. I mean, they're shipping people. We saw yesterday there's planes going to New York throughout the country where they're letting them off. But the thing that I point out in the book, Jay, that's so important is this is a problem, A, that's very easily solved. Everybody understands that. And two, I think you have to understand the motives, that there is no other explanation for letting the folks in than trying to create future Democratic voters. I know that sounds cynical. Some people have said that that's just because but if not, explain to me why you would stop Remain in Mexico, Title 42, all of the things. And when you ask the folks why they're coming, they say specifically because of Biden, and they wouldn't do it under Trump. So it's a very simple thing. The policies are creating a magnet for people to come, and it's whether you're in Nashville, Tennessee, Burbank, California, Providence, Rhode Island, it's affecting you and your community.
Yeah, no, everywhere.
And a lot of people will look towards what happened with Afghanistan. Obviously, huge mistakes there, and they try to conflate the two, saying, well, we have refugees coming in from there, but what about the border? I think that American people are compassionate about these issues, but they also don't want to see nothing.
Yeah, but Logan, I will say that they're agreed. I think that the SIVs, the people who helped the U.S., are in a different category. But to your point, there people do have something there. When you're bringing people in and the Secretary of Homeland Security can't tell you that those people are vetted or that they know that they, in fact, helped the U.S., we're seeing cases of health concerns that they're coming in. There's obviously yesterday, Tony Gonzalez, a member of Congress from Texas, said that there's several people that he spoke to from the Minister of Panama that said that they have ties to Al-Qaeda. I mean, that shows you that there's not a lot of concern about our national security.
Right. We just found out today, this came from our producer, that the last fiscal year, which just ended in September, a month ago, set the highest border encounters ever recorded.
Yeah, that's because what they've done is they took the policies of the Trump administration, and if the Trump administration did it, then they say we're not going to do it.
100%.
Yeah, it was bad regardless
it's
of what
bad.
it is.
So let's not do it. And you had one of their folks testify yesterday in front of Congress. Well, there is some utility to a wall to some degree. And I guarantee you better snapshot that guy because he's gone by the COB today.
You wrote the book. It's called Radical Nation. Give us what's kind of the lead theme of this? Because it's obvious. You look at what's going on here, what's happening.
But it is hard when it's been only 10 months and you already are seeing this.
But there's two things, Logan. One is the people and the policies. I don't think people fully appreciate it. And it's not because people aren't smart. It's because the media has given them a pass or hidden their credentials, their motives. And the second big takeaway is what I like to call understanding the why. Why are they letting people in the border? Why do they want to make D.C. a state? Why do they want to pack the court? And it all ties together, which is an ultimate pursuit of eternal power.
Right,
if you pack the court, if you get 2 more Democratic senators, potentially 4 if you make Puerto Rico a state, you're always in power. Then you can keep pursuing these far-left policies.
All right, we've done a lot of discussion here on this broadcast, Sean, on China and the role of China. We work closely with Mike Pompeo, who's one of our senior legal counsel on global affairs, and also with Rick Rennell, former DNI. China is a huge problem.
It's a massive problem.
And it looked like during our 4 years that we were making some real progress in those relationships, although President Trump was very tough in the right way on the trade imbalance. Now we're in a situation where you feel like we're at the mercy of China.
We are. And I think
I know we are from the medications. Every antibiotic you take.
All the PPE. I mean, think about it. They created a disease, a virus, and then we bought all the PPE, the pharma, and all the other things from China. I mean, we've become more dependent on them. And I think that there is a lack of understanding among our elected leaders, frankly, across all parties. And Trump was the first guy to really take it seriously and call it out. But we have a serious dependency. China has become too big to fail. Yeah. And that's a problem.
Oh, yeah, pretty much everything you use, everything you do. I mean, that's when there are always these grandiose, we need to bring manufacturing back. Yes, in theory, but that is not an overnight
So
thing.
think
when you
about
realize
this.
that every piece of clothing we're wearing right
Yeah.
now. You know?
Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg said the other day, just like they said Afghanistan was a success,
Right.
said this is a success because it's getting companies to think about moving back home. Well, why would they move back home if you're raising the corporate tax? In fact, it would encourage them to move further away. And I think that's the problem is that, again, you have to ask yourself why. Why are they doing certain things? Why aren't they pursuing certain other things? And it all comes back to a fact that they want more people to be dependent on government and to ensure their ultimate, eternal power in running these things.
Sure. I went through a lot of your chapters, went through this book, and you do actually have, which our people care deeply about, is a chapter dedicated to life and what you call like the assault on human life. I think that is something that is, there's so many big issues that are happening. It's one of those topics that easily is kind of forgotten. But this administration has certainly not been a friend to the religious communities or to the.
There's actually a chapter on religious liberty and life. The thing about life that's so fascinating, we were doing a segment on my Newsmax show the other day, and all of a sudden I went, oh my gosh, wait, I wrote about this in the book. Joe Biden said when he got elected to a Catholic newspaper that he believed that life began at conception, that he was personally pro-life, he was concerned about pushing his values and everyone else. He now talks about it as if he had never been pro-life. He talks about the fact that there's no evidence and, he's obviously against the Catholic Church. But it is amazing when you read the stuff in the book about what his history was, what his positions were, what his quotes were that
this
are
was not an
diametrical.
ultra-liberal on life.
No,
this was the guy who was responsible
until
for the
he
Hyde
realized
Amendment.
he couldn't get elected.
Right.
Yeah, no, he was responsible. He was one of the sponsors of the Hyde Amendment. The book, by the way, we're talking to Sean Spicer, our good friend, and the book's called Radical Nation, and it's available coming Tuesday. And if you go to Amazon or wherever you buy your books, you can pre-order those books now, which really helps. So we want to make sure that you have access to this book. So Amazon, Barnes & Noble.
Yeah, and Newsmax has made it easy. Newsmax.com/23. That
Okay,
way
there
if
you go.
forget anything.
Wow. Okay, so you can get it at Newsmax as well. We want to encourage you to get this book because you get Sean's perspective. Any of us that worked in the White House bring a bit of a unique perspective to it. So I think we got about 2 minutes left here. So I want to finish on this one. We're in a very different place, but we've got ahead just a year away, midterm elections.
Yep.
You and I have been through a cycle or two. What are you thinking? What do you see?
I think if Republicans can get out of their own way, they definitely take back the House. They need 5 seats. There's no question you pick up 2 in Texas. You're definitely going to get 1, probably 2 in Florida. Then you look at a lot of the other seats where you have members that are in Trump districts that are going to get better because of redistricting. There's no question about it. Here's the one thing that I think is important. Will Republicans actually take back the majority and do something with it, as opposed to get in and do something just for the sake of it? I think they need to put forth a clear and unequivocal agenda about what they will do, how they will ensure that people understand that their votes aren't being taken for granted. And the last chapter in the book, chapter 20, is all about a conservative action agenda, how people can get involved, how they can hold those elected officials accountable.
Thank you so much, Sean, for stopping by. Sean Spicer's new book, Radical Nation, is available now to pre-order. Available Tuesday
Thank you,
nationwide.
guys.
Thank you, Sean. I appreciate it. It was blessed.